For this drawing, you're going to draw some small palm trees. You'll need your eraser, a pencil with a sharp tip, and a piece of drawing paper. We'll start by drawing the palm fronds. Those are the part that come out of the top of the palm tree. They're going to be pretty small. I'll put my eraser up here so you can get an idea. You'll start with a line that tapers, so it gets thin. And then you're going to add a bunch of small tapering lines to it. So a tapered line goes from thick to thin. On the other side here, I'm adding more. The spine is this part, and then these are called leaflets, the green parts that come out of the spine. And they're in a pattern where they come out pretty evenly spaced to each other, but you want to make sure it doesn't look too mechanical. So try and vary the width a little bit and how they're laying next to each other. So I'd like you to practice about 7 or 8 of these until you feel comfortable with them. Notice that on some of them, the ones that I'm putting in the back, the leaflets in the back, are lighter. Next, I'll make the spine thicker. The spine is the part that's in the middle. Give it some volume. And then I'll draw a trunk. Again, these are really small. You can look at the eraser to get an idea of how big they are. It's going to taper and get wider at the bottom. And I'm just going to use the very edge of my pencil. This is not the tip of the pencil, but the edge of it at the end. And bring in some marks to show the texture of the trunk. We'll do a bigger version of this and it will be a little more clear what that texture looks like. So on the other side of this, you're going to draw a small beach scene with some water and a couple of trees. First, I want to make the water line, and I want it to be completely straight across the horizon. And so I'm just grabbing another piece of paper and lining it up with the side of my original paper so that I can make a straight line. You could use a ruler, but this is just faster. And I'm just gonna run my pencil along it to make the water. And that's not quite dark enough, so I'll go over it again. Next, I'll draw a small beach in the front. I'm just gonna have this at a little bit of an angle. Just like a little sandy hill. And I'll have 2 trees coming up, one there, one there. I'm going to have them both kind of leaning in 2 different directions. So I'll put the first one in. Again, it's going to be pretty thin at the top and then widen towards the bottom. And you'll see that with most palm trees. Take my eraser and just erase out the inside. I'll put the second one a little higher on the horizon and it'll be shorter than the other so that I have some variety. You can draw as many as you want. You can do 3 or 4, whatever you want to do. But I'd like you to have at least 2. So now I'll use the side of my pencil again and go in and add the texture. And notice how I have my finger on top of the pencil. This will help you control it. Making these stripy marks across. Again, I'm using the side of the pencil, not the tip. Once you've done that, you can use the tip of the pencil to add some detail. A few lines, tighten up some of the edges if you'd like to. Add some darker marks. for some variety. Next, I'm going to draw in the palm fronds. I'm just going to start by making some lines where the spines will be and planning the layout. I want to make sure I'm getting them not spaced completely evenly. You can have some that are overlapping. And I'll add the leaflets. If you need to, you can turn your paper so that as you're drawing them, you'll feel more comfortable getting nice straight lines so they're kind of lined up next to each other, the leaflets. I've sped up this video, but you can definitely slow down and go slower than I am with these. I'm going to add some darker marks where the fronds are attaching to the trunk. And then I'll come up and do the same thing on the other one. Planning so that I have some variety. You don't want them to look like a star. And on some of them, I'll make both sides even as far as seeing the whole front of the frond. And then on others, I'll just have this side. So look for some variety as you're putting those on. Again, I'll add some darker marks where the fronds are attached to the trunk. And I'm just adding a little more value to one side of the trunk so I have a shadow edge. Then you can take this side of your pencil and come in and get some of the beach drawn in. Just getting a little sand. I made a shadow on one side and I'm going to get some details, little marks for the sand or bits of tree that might be laying around, like maybe a frond that's fallen off. And finally, I'll add a few marks on the water, just some waves, so it's not blank. And that's it. So this is what you will end up doing at the top of one of your pages.